Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Slasher Summerhouse.
Wow, this place is great.
Yeah, man. Like, I've never seen a cabin with so many rooms.
Come out back though, we're gonna go in the pool because it's freaking hot out. Just come around the back here. Oh, there's Logan. He's already floating in there. What's going on, Logan?
Hey, Logan, how's it going?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing all right, man.
Yeah, what's so all right?
Oh, I got a big date tonight with Florence Pugh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You gonna take her someplace classy?
Well, let's not say that. I meant I'm watching Midsommar.
Well, friend of the podcast, Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
Hey, man, like, what's that in the pool?
Oh, those are my turtles, Barry and Sims. I let them swim in there sometimes.
Nah, not the turtles. That big monstrosity. Is that? I've seen that before. What is that?
I did come into a little money, and I was like, what am I gonna do with my money? I'm gonna buy the shark from the Universal Studios Jaws ride.
Kind of cryptic. Where you're getting this money from? I don't know if I'm gonna go any deeper into like where you're getting this money.
Yeah,
from,
don't
but-
ask. Just
but-
enjoy.
Yeah,
right?
all right.
Do you know how many people have proposed marriage in front of this shark?
Well, now Logan can bring Florence Pugh over and propose to her right here.
Yeah, once she reads my DM.
Just slide right in there.
Let's get in the pool.
Cannonball!
Bearclaw, that was quite the jump.
It's a bit nippy in here.
Oh, man. Wait a minute. Hey, where's the shark?
This thing moves on its own.
We deactivated all the mechanical mechanism. Uh-oh.
What is that?
Oh, hey.
Going on?
Bearclaw, swim!
Oh my God, it's alive!
What the hell's going on?
Oh, wait. Oh, there it goes. All right, it's on the surface now. Whew. Oh, man. All right, let's get into our review.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
So you are afraid of something else. You'll go little mad sometimes.
You don't know what death is.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Welcome to the madness.
We are the Mouths of Madness, your new favorite podcast for horror movie reviews. We're coming to you live tonight from the pool outside the Slasher Summerhouse. This is our episode 16 on the 1975 Jaws. My name is Kevin, and let me introduce you to the other members of Madness. First, we have Dan. Dan, are you excited to kick off summer vacation?
Bro, I am having such a great time here at the horror house camp out. You know, got the pool going, you know, got the hot dogs on the grill.
The Glizzies.
Glizzies, man. All about them glizzies. And you know,
Damn
I gotta
boomers.
work on my tan, although like, you know, me and the sun don't really get along. It's kinda like that joke on about, you know, sticking a fork in a microwave, you know, it's me and the sun. So, you know, I'm gonna have to go put some goop on my nose really quick, and I'll be right back.
He's gonna be wearing the Goth brand sunscreen.
Gonna paint your face.
Oh, that would have been perfect for this one, huh? Little crow makeup, hide you from the sun.
Yeah.
Next, we have the mayor of Amity Island. No, not Larry Vaughn. It's Bearclaw.
How's it going, everybody? I'm just sitting here in this pool, crushing these brews. Just really enjoying this summer vacation house.
Yeah, Bearclaw. You got us all in the right mood.
I am just, you know, very excited to be here. It's very good to be on vacation, and you know, it's I'm loving this house.
I really appreciate your Bearclaw Jams 09 mix that you've put together for
yeah.
us.
Yeah, it's really setting the mood for what we're looking to achieve here.
Man,
Fantastic.
I know. It is. I'm like laying on the pool here on my float, just enjoying the jams.
Oh yeah.
And finally, we have the youngest member of Madness, my son Logan. Logan, how's summer going so far?
Going pretty good. I know it's pretty righteous for you guys, you boomers. That's right. You're not the only ones that know stuff from your old era.
The fact that the last sentence that you had was just full of like 3 falsehoods, and we're millennials.
No, you're boomers.
We're not boomers.
We're not there yet.
And who the fuck says righteous?
And who does say righteous?
You guys.
Maybe Jason Biggs tried to get it over once or twice, but fuck him.
Logan, you haven't been karateing any picket fences, have you?
Nah, not yet.
No, that's not you.
No, that's someone else. You know, it might be Billy. He's been really trying to get into this party.
Oof. Well, I know that there are a lot of other great horror movie podcasts out there, but what separates us from the other ones is that we're going to be giving you the older versus younger generation perspective. Myself, Dan, and Bearclaw were all born in the 80s, while my son Logan was born in the early 2000s. So this is the clash of the generations. Now, before we get into the episode, I want to plug some of our stuff and where to find us. Follow us on Instagram, and that's at mouths.of.madness. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that's at Mouths of Madness. And finally, email Bearclaw at thepaddedroom@outlook.com and let him know how you're spending the summer.
Yeah, definitely let me know about your beach plans, just what you're up to, and if you have any plans of being eaten by a shark or watching somebody being eaten by a shark.
We'll report you.
What, shark attacks are a serious thing out there this summer. So, everybody stay safe and make sure to email me. And
Any pictures too. Shark bites. He likes that shit.
But if he shares it with us, we will be sure to let him join the penitentiary along with Billy and the other boys.
Now, for our content consumed this episode, we're going to let you know what we've been up to. What have we been watching? What have we been listening to? What have we been reading or gaming? For me, this week we covered Suspiria from 1977, the OG on Straight Jacket Talk, and that's at our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you guys ever seen Suspiria?
It's been both the old version and the new version have been on my watch list. I've just not gotten around to it.
They look very weird. I wasn't quite sure what they were about, so I never really dove into it.
Logan, have you seen it?
Definitely not.
No.
Is it very in the same vein as like Black Swan?
So there's
movie.
There's some similarities. I haven't seen the new Suspiria, but the original OG is kind of, has elements of Black Swan in it, but it's definitely a cool movie. I recommend seeing it. The mood, the atmosphere, the music are all great in it. I think it's definitely worth a watch. And also, Logan's been getting me into a new show, Ted Lasso. Well, a new show for me.
Oh, yeah.
Ted Lasso's been on for a while, but we finally started watching it, and it's been really good.
Yeah, 2 shows we've been watching, Umbrella Academy and Ted Lasso, trying to get the summer movie list is hard.
Have you guys watched Severance yet? If you guys got out,
I have watched Severance. I don't think he would like Severance.
Severance is weird. Watch Severance.
Severance wouldn't jive with him because it's too much it's too much long-term booking that it's like it's gonna be way too many questions that I don't want. Umbrella Academy is enough.
Oh man. Well, I think the good thing about Ted Lasso is it's a pretty positive and uplifting show.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I need to find one of those.
Yeah.
It's there. That's it. It's like the most positive show. That's why I put it on.
Sometimes the world can beat you down a little bit, but Ted Lasso's there to pick you back up.
Yeah, Jason Sudeikis, also known as Ed Helms lookalike.
They look exactly the same.
They don't look at all
Google them
like,
and then email us at thepaddedroom@outlook.com and let me know.
Don't tell us your terrible opinions because they look nothing alike.
Yeah. Thank you. Someone sees it the way I do. That's right.
All right, Dan, what do you have?
I'm actually passing for this week because I'm still focused on a bunch of the stuff that we covered last episode. I'm still very much deep into the Elden Ring DLC, still following the boys. Those are kind of been my 2 things. But to get ahead of myself, one thing I will be investing some time in is to watch the Fire Walk with Me movie that goes with Twin Peaks.
I guess they're watching Twin Peaks.
I love the original, one from the 90s. And so, I tried watching the Showtime one, and Nathan had explained to me that Fire Walk with Me is kind of essential viewing in order to understand. Like the Showtime season 3 of Twin Peaks that takes place in the 2010s. So it's my little homework assignment for myself.
Cool.
Go back to school.
A little summer assignment for yourself.
Summer reading list.
All right, Bearclaw, what do you have?
So I have been very on theme for what we're discussing today. I've been playing a video game called Dredge, which is a video game where you're actually a boat captain and you're piloting around and you have to fish to kind of, there's a whole, fishing system and going out and getting fish and getting money for the fish and everything like that. But there's kind of a twist to it in that if you take your boat out at night, you're going to see all kinds of weird Lovecraftian things. It's a big horror game, actually. And you're going to, under the water of your tiny boat, you're going to see these monstrous things that could come up and destroy your whole boat. And you're just kind of always going along at night. You have to be super cautious. But it's a really cool video game, really kind of in line with what we're talking about this week with Jaws. I was in the Maine coastlines, so it was very, a lot of lobster boats and stuff around there. So it was just a really cool video game to be playing through. And it's one that I had played before and beaten, but there was new DLC that came out. So I had to play through the DLC because huge fan of that game. But yeah, that's what I've been up to.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
We've come a long way since Odell Down Under.
Yeah.
Good old Oregon Trail.
All right, Logan.
I got dysentery.
Oh, man. How about you?
For me, been catching up on my shows. The Boys definitely been a big show for me for a while, so catching up on that. Same with House of the Dragon, the same old shows. Did finally get around to The Bear. Season 3 came out. It was good. I said to you, I was like, it was okay, but like it wasn't insane. Like it was just, it was probably the weakest of the 3 seasons, and that really is hard to think of because the first 2 are so damn good, and this one just, I don't know, fell flat for me. So like not really a good watch. Basically just watching shows, watching a couple movies, I did watch Mallrats. That's on my movie list, which
Excellent
was...
movie.
Had you never seen that before?
Yeah, I have like a whole movie list that he set up for me to watch.
I made Logan.
He's got a summer movie list.
Yeah.
Quintessential summer movie list.
Some of them are not available, and some of them are straight trash. So...
Oh, dang.
What was straight trash?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
No, nothing is bad yet. I've only watched like
He's
2
just
movies.
giving me a hard time before
Just
he's even
getting
seen it.
it.
Yeah.
Just getting
I did
it,
like
man.
Mallrats. There is a lot. There is a scene that I will definitely be quoting a lot where he's like, it's a sailboat. Screw you, the Easter Bunny's not real.
A schooner is a sailboat. I love that scene. Too.
That guy's like jacked now.
Yeah.
He lost like a bunch of weight.
He was on Boy Meets World for a
Yeah,
while.
he was Vader's son.
Yeah, Boy Meets World, yeah.
Feeney gave his Vader some hard shit. He's like, I'm gonna call your mother.
Hey, I wouldn't mess with Feeney.
Yeah, I would not mess with Feeney. Feeney!
All right.
Good old Sam Adams. Or John Adams.
It's like, wait a minute, what?
Nah, John Adams.
What's his name? Who knows? It's Mr. Feeney.
Well, it's not his actual name, but he played John Adams in a movie.
Oh, yeah. You're right. He did. Without any further ado, grab a beer, pull up a chair, hold on to your life jacket tight, and let's dive into the madness. We watched Jaws from 1975. It was written by Peter Benchley and Carl Gottlieb and is based on the book Jaws by Peter Benchley. Now, this movie famously was directed by Steven Spielberg, and it's his second theatrical film that he directed. He was only 26 years old when he directed this
Crazy
movie.
to think about that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, this movie obviously put him on the map. It made him kind of where he is now. It set him on that trajectory.
Yeah, supposedly it's like one of the first summer blockbusters, right?
Yes, yeah, they consider this the first ever summer blockbuster movie. And we'll talk about why that is in a second, because Jaws had a budget of $9 million. Do you guys know how much it grossed at the box office?
I mean, this is like the definition of a blockbuster. So I'd say $100 million.
Now, usually when I do this, I'm never right, but like, I'm going to go pretty bold. I'm going to go like a nice 300 mil.
This movie is officially broke records for the first. I think it was like the first movie to gross like a stupid amount of money. Hence, Blockbuster, of course. 225 million.
Jaws grossed $476.5 million.
Wow.
It was what Dan said, the first film that made over $100 million in the box office.
Hey, well past 100.
Yeah. Times 4.
Wow, so I was the
So
closest.
you won.
Yes, finally.
Logan, confetti.
After last time.
Don't get the confetti in the filter of the pool.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Or in the gills of that monstrosity.
Or the
that-
turtles that are there.
Oh, yeah, Barry and Sims. There they are.
Dan, don't you love the turtles?
Love the turtles.
Dan's got some history.
I was about to say.
Now, currently on Rotten Tomatoes, Jaws has a 97% critic score and a 90% audience score. So this is certified fresh. And I mean, critic score wise, this
Right.
is the second highest I believe we've done on the Mouths of Madness.
Yeah.
In terms of rating,
In terms of rating, yeah.
Yeah.
Get Out. I'll have to go and look back at our other ones, but I know we just did Get Out and had 98%.
Huh.
Yeah, that's
score.
probably the most, besides probably like Hereditary.
28 Days was pretty close to the tippy top there
Yeah,
too.
we'll have to go back and kind of take a look. Better Watch Out had 100%.
Yeah.
God, I'd be surprised if it got anything above 5.
5%.
Yeah,
Oh,
because that movie was straight trash.
what do we think of Jaws? Is this straight trash, or does it live up to the critics and the hype? What do you guys think? I'll start with Logan. I want to hear Logan.
I get
Let's
to
hear
go
what the
first.
younger generation
Yeah,
has to
I'm
say.
curious what Mr.
Logan, is
Logan's
this your
gotta
first
say.
watch?
This is technically my second watch.
Oh, you saw a little bit of it.
I saw a little bit of it. I only watched like a good hour and 30 minutes. I don't know what the hell happened. We just stopped watching it. I don't know what the hell happened. We just stopped. And I was pissed off because I was like, dude, I was actually enjoying the hell out of that movie. And then you turned it off. I don't remember where the hell we were, but like something happened where we had to like turn it off for one of the kids or something.
Yeah.
That was probably what happened. And I was
Probably.
like, oh, God. But I watched it again literally before this recording to finish it out. And I was pleasantly surprised by how much I did enjoy this movie. It was a very good watch. I really enjoyed watching it for the first time. You know, it was definitely like one of those movies I can get behind. It was very much reminiscent. It reminded me a lot of like Twister in a lot of ways, where I was like these kind of movies that like you are kind of like these summer blockbuster kind of feel movies, and they're very good. I hold Jaws up to be like a pretty good movie.
If you think about it too, Jaws kind of was the and I know they had like King Kong and Godzilla, but this was really the first quote unquote like monster type of big movie. This kind of paved the way for like the Lake Placids and other Anaconda. Who could forget Anaconda?
Oh yeah,
Or Human Centipede.
yeah.
What?
I will support that. You know,
That is a left turn.
Oh my
Jaws
goodness.
crawled. Jaws crawled, so Human Centipede could fucking run. I love it.
That's a roadblock.
Listen, for me on Jaws, I didn't see Jaws until I was much older. As a kid, I never watched Jaws. I was a huge Halloween fan. Was into Texas Chainsaw, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
You would be.
I didn't watch Jaws until I met my wife. And my wife, who doesn't really like horror movies, Jaws is one of her favorite, if not her favorite movie of all time. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Her father loves it. Her sister loves it. Her father's a huge fan. So, I think he kind of, it brought him back to summers before. And, he, I think, identified with some of the characters. And
Like the mayor.
and she ended up liking it a lot. So when I met her, it was like, this is a must watch. She was like, I can't believe you haven't watched Jaws. And now we watch it at least once or twice a year. It's like our go-to summer movie. This is
Besides grown-ups.
besides grown-ups, this is really our go-to summer
Adam
movie.
Sandler, a freaking jerk.
I think, a lot of this movie is what a summer blockbuster should be. I think there's action, there's
100%.
adventure. There is a good story, I think, and I think what this movie does really good for me is it's simple in terms of splitting the movie up in different acts. So you have the first act, which is the problem.
People are getting eaten.
You have the second act, which is coming up with possible solutions.
Yeah.
Then you have the
Call
third
to action.
You're right. And then you have the third act, which is resolution.
Yeah.
Or how we're going to solve this. And I think
Definitely.
that's why I think it just is a simple premise that, you know, really resonates with a lot of people, because I do think that
There's a lot of like action and a lot of adventure. You know? Yeah.
I would
agree.
I think this movie actually surpasses like horror, because I think it is,
Yeah, I might agree with that too.
you know, I think there are elements for everybody to enjoy. in
Yeah.
this movie.
Oh, yeah. This is like a Steven Spielberg like movie. Like this is what Steven Spielberg is like known for, is like these really tight action adventure movies that, you know, tell a story. There's a problem. There's something. There's some sequence of events that have to happen. And yeah, no, it's really
Like the Goonies.
yeah, just like the Goonies.
Well, I
Yeah,
was going to
no.
ask, like, can you feel like a Steven Spielberg type of movie in Jaws? Because it is
1,000%.
It is literally, like Bearclaw said, like it's a Steven Spielberg movie.
That is his signature, right down
It's
to
a
the
niche.
John Williams score. It is his signature movie.
It's a niche movie with Steven Spielberg.
So, Bearclaw, this was your first watch?
This
on
was,
Jaws?
this was my first watch. I did have some initial thoughts that I wrote down.
Okay.
So this was my first watch of this movie, which is strange being a New Englander and whatnot. So my first off, I thought the shark looked totally fake. It really took me out of the movie. I saw Jaws attack the captain of the Sequest, which was strange, and then he goes after his kids in the pond. I was wondering where Darwin was, the dolphin from Sequest. I don't know if you guys remember any Sequest fans. No, you guys don't remember
We're all looking at
Sequest?
each other blankly. Sequest.
You guys don't remember where the main guy, Roy Scheider, he's the captain on Sequest. It's like underwater Star Trek.
The 21st century, mankind has colonized the last unexplored region on Earth, the ocean. As captain of the Sequest and its crew, we are its guardians.
I haven't
You guys
seen it.
seriously never saw that show?
I haven't seen it.
Sequest DSZ with the talking dolphin.
What the hell?
Got nothing for you,
Talking
boss.
dog.
And it's the same guy who's the chief as the captain of that Sequest. I've never been so disappointed in all my life.
Dang.
Yeah, how dare you guys? I love that.
You know, and was the Sequest actually a secret vengeance project to hunt down Jaws? You know, he did say that they were going to need a bigger boat. Sequest is an undersea submarine for those of us who watched TV in the early 2000s.
Bearclaw, you're tying universes, isn't it?
I wasn't
I'm just saying, I'm just
alive.
bringing this all together. No, it was weird watching because a lot of those people became famous for things either before or after that, and I had never really connected the dots. It was kind of cool to see Roy Scheider. I've always thought he's a really great actor. He was in a really cool movie called Naked Lunch. It's a very strange movie, but Roy Schneider's a fantastic actor, and I'm poking a little bit of fun in this movie, but I think it's an absolutely excellent movie, fantastic movie. But I think there's a question that we need to ask here, and and everybody kind of has danced around it, but I think it's worth talking about. I think we need to have a little debate on it. This is an excellent movie. I don't think anybody could, even with this stupid shark stuff. And, there's going to be tons of podcasts that are going to talk about how great this movie is, because it is. It's a fantastic movie. But is it a horror movie is my question.
Well,
And here's the thing. I would argue that I don't know that I'm convinced, and I'm saying I'm open on this subject. I don't know that it is a horror movie.
Well, let's get into it, and let's go over to Dan, because I think Dan has some ideas on this subject.
I'm going to give my opening on this as well. And I feel like I might be alone on this episode, because I don't enjoy this movie. I get it. It broke records at the box office. It has amazing critic scores and rave reviews from moviegoers from all walks of life. A universally accepted great movie. I acknowledge all of that. I'm one of those weirdos that doesn't care for it.
Really?
It has nothing to do with the action. It has nothing to do with the acting. It's the plot. I cannot get behind it. Everyone, I think, loves the animatronic shark. Who doesn't? That thing is fucking awesome. especially when it's biting the Captain Ahab guy in half. Like, iconic shit. Great visceral moment with the shark up close. But let's be real. The shark isn't the villain of this movie. Sharks are going to be sharks. From my perspective, the villains in the movie are the people on the island that did not take the threat seriously. They willfully chose not to fully understand the severity of having a shark chilling off their coastline. Had they taken time, they would learn that it might pose an even greater existential crisis than not letting people go into the water at the beach that might deter tourism. Oh my God. Instead, let's put out a bounty on a shark so that the village idiots can load the coastline with as much chum as possible to ramp up the fucker's aggression. They would rather risk making national news that they do nothing to keep man-eating sharks out of their waters and actually encourage it. People's body parts ending up washed up on their shores and all that. I don't think that's the type of publicity that would allow your island beach community to continue to thrive either. But I digress. Back to Bearclaw's point. I'm not talking about this as a horror movie. I'm talking about the first hour and a half of this movie and all of its incompetent nuance of these dumb islanders who cannot handle a shark. That's why I can't stand this movie.
Oh. Yeah. And like, well,
That's a lot to chew on, Dan.
That is
sorry, that's my massive rant. I yield my time.
Yeah, that's it.
I can see, and I think it's supposed to be deliberately frustrating that they're not doing what they should be doing. You know, to some straitjacket talk.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
You know, I would agree that you're going to get, especially in a place where people's livelihoods depend on the summertime. It's a life and death situation for them too. A lot of times
it doesn't have to be though, and that's the point that I'm making. Is like there is some sort of answer between, oh my God, we're going to go bankrupt because there's a man-eating shark here, and what are we going to do about this man-eating shark, and how are we going to keep business open? There's no in between. It is all or nothing.
Yeah, they have to drive the action. But I mean, but do you think that, like...
It's a non-issue. Don't go in the fucking water. The threat's over.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And like, so, and the shark is the problem, right? And then you could just not go in the water and the problem would be solved. But I mean, the whole context of the movie, I think that this is an action and an adventure movie, right? And this is what I'm saying. And the reason that they needed to have people go into the water was you needed something that would drive the call to action to the heroes, that drives them into that other world, which is like that Quint's world, right? Which is like the story structure. But like one of the things, I looked these up in a dictionary of film something or another from Oxford about official like definitions of different film types. And one of them is action adventure film. And the one thing that I think about it is an action adventure film is defined as an extremely successful and influential mode of popular cinema that foregrounds spectacular movement of bodies, vehicles, and weapons, state-of-the-art special effects. These highly dynamic elements with the actor's physical performance and central attraction are usually held together by a fast-paced, pared-down, goal-oriented narrative structure. The last bit being the really important part there, goal-oriented narrative structure. What was the problem? The shark was the problem. How were they going to deal with the problem? They had to turn to Quint to deal with the problem. And it was time-based because people were still going into the ocean and getting eaten, and the summer was going away, and that creates the time pressure for the heroes to solve the problem. Because if there's no time pressure, well, who gives a shit then? Why do anything?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
And that's all like the adventure aspects of this. And I mean, and I've got the horror definition, and we can talk about that. But I mean, that's kind of where I think the interesting debate is this a horror movie?
No.
Or an action adventure movie?
I think, so combining both of your points, Dan's and Bearclaw's, I think, and we talked about this on Straight Jacket Talk, our first episode, we talked about Jaws because it's both me and Nathan's in our top 3 favorite horror movies of all time. The realistic aspect of this movie is, and we've lived on Cape Cod, and they deal with actual great white sharks off the coast. And how do they actually deal with them? Well, they do, like you were saying. I mean, and like we said on the show, they don't shut like the beaches down completely. They won't do that because they are dependent on tourist money. These are, and Amity Island seems to be the same thing, very dependent on tourism. They do things like they do in the movie where they do shark spotters on ships. They actually have helicopters now over Cape Cod that will track sharks and things like that. They'll close portions of beaches off where they've seen sharks. But like you said, this is like new real world, like how they're dealing with sharks. Like instead of let's go just kill these sharks. I think though, specifically for this movie, the reason why they're targeting this shark is because it has killed human beings and
a kid.
I don't have a problem with them like targeting and going after the shark. I just think that, again, the idea of the shark threatening the entire island's business and industry, I think is a stretch, and it's an artificial sense of urgency that is being placed on me, and I don't buy it.
I think though this goes into another theme of the movie, and it's fear and how fear,
paranoia,
and perception of reality.
Yes, and like the great town hall scenes when they're in there and there's chaos, and are you going to close the beaches? Are you going to close the beaches?
Are you going to close the beaches?
Yes, we are.
There's even political corruption there because Mayor Vaughn, once Chrissie dies at the beginning, right? Mayor Vaughn strong arms the coroner to change his official thing.
Cause of death.
Yeah, right.
What else could have done that to that girl? Boat Cabela?
Well, I think possibly, yes, a boating
That's
accident.
not what you told me over the phone.
I was wrong. We'll have to amend our reports.
Yeah.
And they corner Chief Brody, and they say, oh man, well, this is a boating accident and I'll stand by that. So there is that fear. And like you're saying, that's a big theme of this movie.
My problem with it, and again, going this underlying theme that I can't break away from. It is the one thing because I feel like you spend 90 minutes on that theme. And then, like you said, you go into the third act of it's the guys on the boat fighting the shark. And it feels like, to me, the conflict resolution on the island with, all the seedy shit that's going on, is unresolved. But yay, shark dead.
I hear you.
I have, a pretty good explanation of the movie. To me, there's always going to be 3 acts of a movie. There's always going to be, the how you got there, kind of the explanation of it all, kind of letting you in, kind of keeping you on your toes, kind of the tense intensity of the movie, kind of to set up what the actual movie is going to be. Then you have the second part, which is escalation. Something happens that makes all the characters or just the entire plot feel like it's ramping up for something that's going to swell into kind of a intense battle for the third act. Then you have the third act, which is fighting the odds. You kind of have, in this movie, you have the 3 protagonists going against the shark, fighting the odds, fighting this kind of quote-unquote unstoppable fighting machine. The shark has kind of not been stopped before, so they go after it, and they try again through trial and error, and they defeat the shark, and that's how it should be, is that 3-act process. And I think it works good because you have this escalation, and like you said, it's kind of stupid how the village idiots are going after the shark. It makes sense because it's a movie, and that's how I think I looked at it. Was I agree with you. Why the hell are you sending the stupidest people on the planet Earth to go after a shark that obviously isn't happy?
Well, in the movie though, that bounty is not placed by the mayor or the town. It is placed by Mrs. Kitten.
Is that $3,000 bounty on the shark in cash or check?
I don't think that's funny at all. I'm sorry.
All right. That's
That's private business between you fishermen and Mrs. Kentner.
Her personal bounty. That's why you see all those idiots out there with the dynamite and stuff like
and
that.
I think that's also like the escalation. Like there's actual personal issues that these people are facing. Like these people have lost people due to this shark, and I think that's why. And you know what? I'm gonna say it. Halloween Kills, kind of the same movie as Jaws.
Well, actually, there is some similarities where, like,
yeah, they said Jaws 2 is supposedly a lot like they said Jaws is pretty much Michael Myers in that movie.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I can see what you're saying. This, I was thinking too, like we talked about with zombie movies and how it's not really about the zombies, it's about how we react to the zombies, and that's a lot of what Jaws is in the first couple acts, at least.
Well, yeah, it's the folly of man is really to me is what the movie's message is. It's the folly of man in the face of desperation.
But so, Dan, you don't think it's really a horror? Bearclaw, you're on the fence. You're wanting to know.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who, you look online, you look on the message boards, everybody just says it's horror. But nobody supports that with anything meaningful. They just go, of course it's horror, and then move on. It's like, okay, well, what do you mean? I think this is an important discussion to have on this show, because what is horror?
You know what? I was thinking about this with Jaws when I first saw it, because there were a lot of elements. I was like, okay, well, like, this is a lot of action adventure.
Yeah.
But I actually found myself having comparisons to Halloween 1978. And I know they're different movies, right? But
in some ways, I could see comparisons, though.
But what they do a lot is the tension building, especially with the shark, obviously. There is deaths, right? I think the way they do some of the deaths are really good, because like you said,
the music
too, sets up that tension. And like you were saying at the beginning too about, the mechanical shark really looking fake for you and stuff.
Well, that was just something to trigger the audience, because I think this movie is a wonderful movie.
No, I'm glad you said that, because originally they were going to use that shark on screen a lot. You were gonna, if you see
they made the right call limiting it.
Yeah, and they had to limit it because it didn't work properly all the time. If you hear Richard Dreyfuss in interviews, he goes on and on about, the shark's not working. But that, I think, actually made this more of a horror movie, because it set up that tension building. It set up using the music. It set up those point of view camera shots as the shark.
That is a really good point, because I think, if you look at the definition of horror, a large and heterogeneous group of films that, via the representation of disturbing, violent, and dark subject matter, seek to elicit responses of fear, terror, disgust, shock, suspense, and, of course, horror from their viewers. And that being the definition of a horror movie, I think your case is a very strong one of how that tension is built. I mean, my thing is just, and it's something that made the picture fuzzier for me, was when I started to think about other movies that maybe wouldn't be considered horror, but if you look at them from a certain lens,
they could be.
Yeah. But then what is the difference between that and a true horror movie? And take, for instance, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, right? Okay, hero vanquishes the Thuggees death cult who's been enslaving children and sacrificing humans to their dark god. Okay, that's a pretty dark, that's a pretty horror premise. Even the Goonies, we were talking about the Goonies and bringing it, and I'm doing this intentionally with Steven Spielberg's work, because I think he does a lot of stuff that is the action adventure, but stuff that's on the line. Even the Goonies, it's about a dead pirate who sets up this massive elaborate trap and they're chased by killers. Right. There's dead bodies in it that if those things catch up to them.
I think something too is how you market your movie a little bit too.
Yeah. But I think what makes the difference, and what I think is something that you highlighted, which kind of brings me to one side, is think of Jaws and the fear and horror that that has had on countless generations,
Yeah.
even myself.
Yeah.
Even I think going into the water. There's
right.
always this thing of like Jaws. It plays on something primordial in us, you know, something that like is very deep in our core of fears of like, you know, of being snatched from the water. Because we're very, you know, all things considered, on the land, we're pretty mobile, humans generally speaking. But
we're vulnerable in the water.
Yeah, but in the water, we're silly monkeys just, you know, splashing around. Like, we don't have the type of dexterity or speed or anything like that, like a massive predator.
I want to know what Logan thinks. Logan, do you think this is a horror movie? What's your opinion?
Well, Bearclaw did point out like the differences between action, adventure, and horror, and like I was kind of hearing the words used, and like I think it works for either or. Like I think yes, it is action and adventure, but like at the same time, you think about those test screenings and the people that have watched those movies. Like there's YouTube videos of like the people that watched this when it first came out. And literally, it's horror. Those people are terrified. And, like, obviously, like he also said, people are scared of going in the water because of a shark. Like, some people aren't, but, like, I definitely am.
Yeah.
There's elements, too, that they kind of set up that they're making this shark an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
Because they do have the thing where they have the shark spotters and, you know, they're going through the beaches and they pull up those kids that are pranking. And then the shark's in the pond. Like, you know, it's subverting expectations. And it's almost like it's smarter than people, you know?
And you know, and how much drive the shark has, you know, I think a lot of this movie is more about how the shark is reacted to by everybody. You know, at first it's kind of like, oh, you know, it's this big, send out the you know, nut jobs or whatever to just try and solve the problem. Okay, that didn't work. We got a science dude come out. He'll poke around a little bit in his boat with cameras all over it and stuff. And they kind of zero in on something more. And then, you know, finally we get the big guns out with Quint's there.
I want to ask a big question because Jaws is one of the only movies I can think of, you know, besides like an ensemble of protagonists, but like three main protagonists that, you know, are all different. They do share some qualities together, but three huge protagonists that are, in my opinion, like pretty legendary. They're all really remembered.
Except for Hooper.
Hooper's pretty legendary.
Okay, well, I want to ask, who is your personal favorite out of Hooper, Quint, or Brody? Who do you got? Dan, who do you have?
Oh, Hooper.
You like Hooper?
Yeah, he's the most rational, grounded, and he's the expert. He knows the sharks, he knows the environment, and he tries to like talk to these people in a very, very rational tone, and he gets met with a bunch of irrationality and bullshit.
Which I like.
You like them giving him shit?
Oh yeah, I love them giving him shit.
Dang, who's
I
your
know
favorite?
I know what happened in the book.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the book. That's another good topic
It's a
to bring
total
up.
different. It's a total different character. It's like incredibly different.
I love the fact that there's a mob element in the book, and Spielberg decided to omit that.
Yeah.
It would have made the movie make so much more sense to me. But
I think the good thing that they did omit from the book, or not omit, but they changed a little bit of these three protagonists to what they are in the movie.
he tried to make them more likable because
Yes.
all the characters in the book are shitheads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Especially Hooper.
And especially Hooper, because there is a plot where him and the chief's wife are sleeping together.
Yeah.
She had dated his brother. She knew Hooper. There was like already an established pre-relationship between them. She's from money. He's from money. There was a sense of like white collar, like togetherness. So this became like a whole other subplot. You know what I mean?
Screw Hooper.
Yeah.
And that would have made you kind of hate Hooper. So Logan, who's your favorite?
Well, it's definitely not Hooper. It's Quint. Quint's the boy. He's the goat.
Yeah, it's Quint's for me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Every line he's got is freaking gold.
You bring your rubbers, Chief.
See, you got your rubbers.
I think Robert Shaw, who plays Quint, gave one of the best performances in movies. And specifically his monologue with the Indianapolis.
Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into our side, Chief. 1,100 men went into the water. Didn't see the first shark for about half an hour. So 1,100 men went in the water. 316 men come out. The sharks took the rest June the 29th, 1945.
Oh,
yeah. That's one of my favorite monologues. Originally, what I had read, too, is...
And like, what a good backstory for hating sharks.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And this also was not in the book.
Really?
Yeah, because...
It should have been.
Well, that makes me think less of the book.
Well, listen to this. When the book was written, the story of the Indianapolis was classified. And they just declassified the Indianapolis story right before the movie started shooting. And one of the writers said, hey, we got to try to fit this in for Quint to say.
Yeah.
So one of the other writers wrote a big thing, right? It was like a 10-page monologue. Gave it to Robert Shaw. Robert Shaw was like, whoa, like, I'm not going to remember 10 pages of dialogue here. Like, what the heck? So the story goes that Robert Shaw went through it himself and cut it down to 5 pages. And he pretty much came up with what you see in the movie. Now, the other story was he was really drunk throughout most of the filming on this movie. And when they originally shot that scene where he reads the monologue, he like was belligerent and it was really bad. So he came to Steven Spielberg the next day, apologized, and wanted to do it again sober. And they got it in the first take. And actually, if you look at Hooper during that scene, Hooper's actually, Richard Dreyfuss is giving his real reaction to what's going on. And they said it was like 100 times better because he actually made, everyone stop and like get into that moment when he gave it. So, and like Bearclaw said, it does give you this backstory. Why the hell does this guy hate sharks
why does he
so
hate
much?
sharks so much? And that's a good reason to hate some sharks.
I like that, though. That was good character development because, like, at first you're like, okay, just another village idiot that... But, like, he was also just so pissed off at this shark. Like, you were kind of just like, wonder what this guy's got cooking in the brain there. And then that came out.
See, I actually saw a lot of, going back to my comparison with Halloween 1978, I actually saw a lot of similarities between him and Dr. Loomis.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison.
Where he was giving these sharks, like, bigger credibility, like, making them more ominous.
Yeah, his formidableness as somebody who is hunting them down speaks to how formidable the sharks are, and his word means
he's the only one that
more.
respects the sharks.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. He's the only one that, like... that seems to know that is confident, that knows what he's doing. Because even Hooper's got a lot of book knowledge and a lot of things like that. But rubber meets the road, you can tell that that Quint is in charge.
Quint, and there's like a very similar thing in his Indianapolis speech where he talks about the eyes, right? Like doll's eyes.
You know the thing about a shark? He's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eye. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living until he bites you. And those black eyes roll over white, and then you hear that terrible high-pitched screaming.
In Halloween 78, Loomis says, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Yeah.
The blackest eyes. The death's eyes.
Thought that was a really cool, like, comparison in my mind. I don't know if anybody else sees it.
No, I think there are some parallels between, because they're thrillers. They're kind of both out to accomplish the same thing, but that makes this interesting, and that brings this more to a horror movie, if you ask me, is bringing that fear, that visceral, like. Just like in some of those camera shots of the shark coming up, like how like crazy, and you see the people swimming coming up from under you. You have that score by John Williams. I mean, that's a truly terrifying moment. I mean,
I think we should definitely talk about the music. The music's iconic, right? I mean, everybody knows.
You could play that anywhere and people will be like, shark where? Like
So I don't know. With all your guys' research and everything, there was something I picked up on, and maybe you guys might have something to agree on that or refute it. But that scene where Quint, they're out on the boat, and he's got the sea fishing line, and the lure goes, dut dut. Dut dut.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
And it made me like think of the theme. And I was like, I was wondering if that was inspired the theme, or was or did that or is that like me overthinking?
Oh, that inspired. I don't think it inspired the theme, but I wouldn't be surprised
if it was intentional.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, because I did see John Williams talked about the theme specifically, and he said he really wanted something simple, like going back to a shark being, ancient and memorable and like something like that. He didn't want it to be overtaken, and make it this big thing. And they ended up really coming up with the two notes and it's kind of a blessing because they used that music to cover up what they didn't have in the shark. Because a lot of those POV shots and stuff are just them with the camera,
and it's just intense music.
Yeah, but that's awesome, dude. I didn't think about that.
When he first catches the shark, and like fucking what's his name is like pouring the water on the fishing line, so like it cools the line down because it's like going like crazy.
Hooper's like, oh, that's not a shark. That's like what does he say, a marlin? Or he's like, I ain't no marlin go through piano wire.
Marlin, stingray, get through this piano wire.
I love that. I think, and we're gonna talk about it. I think obviously the line that everybody knows across the world, but I think what's better almost is the before part. When Brody is on the boat and he's chumming and he's pissed because he has to keep chumming, right?
Yeah, and he was upset about it, and then the shark just comes out like, how terrifying is that?
And then I think what sells it is Brody backs up. This is a policeman, chief of police.
Oh yeah.
Like, whoa. And then backs into the cabin, right? And Quint's just smoking, doing his thing. And of course,
you're gonna need a bigger boat.
And he ad-libbed that line too. That was not a written line.
Oh yeah. And like the thing, and it's like, it's so cool because they're playing and they're hunting this shark. They're kind of on a rogue mission. They don't have support. He bashes the radio. And because he knows that things get dangerous out on the water quickly. And honestly, Quint might have made the right move there because, more people the shark could have gotten away or like.
See, I was thinking that Quint was like going like mad a little bit and was like, fuck this, I'm going after the shark, and was like, we're not calling in.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think it could go either way, because it's either he's trying to make sure nobody comes and screws things up, or like you said, he could have just be going Captain Ahab on this and just like, no, this is mine. Mine and mine alone.
I love the line when he's got him hooked and he's like, oh, I got a taxidermy at home. He's not going to believe what I'm bringing him.
What I'm going to bring him.
I mean, I thought too, on the boat, on the orca, which is the natural enemy of the great white shark, right?
Yeah.
The other dynamic that was at play was Hooper and Quint, who didn't like each other in real life. Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw did not like each other in real life.
Dreyfuss would say, what am I doing on this island? Why am I here? I should be signing autographs in Sardis. I should be feted all over New York City.
That did it for Robert Shaw. That was, I think, the beginning of the great Dreyfuss-Shaw feud.
Shaw was a troublemaker. Shaw was an instigator. He liked to get people riled up.
One was a drunk, and the other was sniffing the, what do you say, Log? The white...
The snow.
Yeah, the
Riding
snow.
The
he was dancing in the snow.
Hurry up, baby. I got something to do. Guess what? Okay.
And it did not go for a good mix. So I think another thing, kind of why you see it on film, is they really didn't get along. But I think it was another theme of older versus younger, kind of what we're doing, and the new generation versus the old.
We're not alcoholics and coke sniffers.
Yeah, but you see, Quint is stubborn, right? He's the old timer. He's the one who's been doing this for years, like me. He's been doing this for years, his way or the highway, right?
You got city hands, Mr. Hooper. You've been counting money all your life.
All right. Hey, I don't need this. I don't need this working class hero crap.
And then all of a sudden, after everything he's done and the orcas messed up, he's like, oh, what can you do with those things, Hooper? And Hooper's like, oh yeah, I think if I get close enough, I can poke him with this. It was like finally letting down his guard, because he had been giving Hooper so much shit throughout.
Rightfully so.
Wow. Dang, you agree with him.
I do. Hooper was a bitch.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe if he let Hooper help, things would have went smoother.
Okay, I'm going to say this. Hooper made me angry in this movie. Hooper made me so angry. Like, yes, you are telling this person what they're doing is wrong. You are like, oh yeah, this isn't the shark. This isn't the shark.
All right, you don't want to listen to me, don't listen to me. It's not a shark.
And like trying to like set it up, like do all this stuff. Like, oh my God, man, stop being a little bitch and just like do it yourself. No one's going to listen to you. So find a guy who's got a big boat and get the job done. You don't need permission with this bounty.
Why? I would just get on a boat and go home. He was brought from the inland to go on the island and help these people. If no one wants my help, I'm getting on the boat and going home. Fuck you.
I'm gonna say this.
And he did say, he was like, okay, I'm out of here. Like, your mayor is not listening to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just saying. And then at the end, when he's in the shark cage and he drops it, and I'm like, you've done it again.
I know. Hooper had incident earlier when he was going to check Ben Gardner's boat out, right? And he pulled a big tooth out of the side, and then all of a sudden, here comes Ben Gardner's head. Whoop!
That was a good jump scare too.
And he dropped the tooth.
That
Logan,
one makes sense.
I mean,
like,
we probably all would have dropped. I mean, come on.
That head popping out did scare me too when I first saw it, because I was like, oh shit.
That was a big thing Steven Spielberg wanted for this movie, was the exact timing with that head popping out. He actually went back to California and refilmed this in a swimming pool. Because he wanted everything to line up perfectly. So when that head comes out, it's like, boom, like jump scare beyond belief.
A fun fact about the underwater scenes. Guess who from Halloween is in this movie?
I know this.
Nathan Warlock or something?
Dick Warlock.
Dick Warlock. Yeah.
What a name, man.
He's in this as the stunt double for Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes, in the Shark Tank. Yep. And he is the Shape in Halloween 2. And he is in Halloween 3 as one of the killer androids.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dick Warlock.
What a great name. Not as good as someone. Yeah.
They also use
strong name. What the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
They also use real shark footage of the shark cage too. They had two individuals who purposely went out and filmed actual footage of a shark cage. Now, they had a little...
Not enough money in the world to get me in a shark cage, man.
Well,
I'll be real honest with you about that.
One of the issues they had is because in the movie, Bruce, who the shark was named by Steven Spielberg after his lawyer because it was a pain in the ass, Bruce is supposed to be 25 feet long. There's no shark in the world that's 25
feet long, yeah.
So what they decided to do for scale was they had a little person who was a diver go into the shark tank. And there was an incident where you see at the end where the shark gets tangled up in the cage. That's real footage. He did get tangled in the cage. The little person wouldn't go in the cage because they were afraid. And it just so happens, thankfully, they didn't go in there because the shark like destroyed the cage.
Oh, man.
They would have ended that little person's life.
Oh,
yeah, that's bad.
That's insane. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm never getting one of those. Like I said, I was tooling around with one of my video game systems and I had a VR headset to it. And I did one of those simulations where I was in the Shark Tank, but I was, just VR.
Yeah.
And it is terrifying that something can come at you from any direction and a giant ass shark swimming around you. And it's just that's just a horrifying experience.
You know, one of my other favorite shots in this movie is when Chief Brody is on the beach and he's looking at the water, paranoid.
And he sees that little kid get...
The camera shot of his face is just so iconic. It's so iconic.
I love how there's the old guy who's like obstructing his view.
Harry! Fucking Harry, get out of the way!
Some bad hat, Harry.
He has like little man boobs in your face. Get out of there. Yeah, I mean, it was just, again, building up that tension. Where is the shark? Because I think we're all kind of looking at the water too. Like, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they do the tease too, where Harry has the cap in the water and he comes up from that woman.
He swims underneath her. Yeah.
Fucking Harry. Now, I know that this movie had how many sequels? 3?
There's
Jaws' Revenge, I believe, is the 4th one.
Logan, do you know who famously was in Jaws' Revenge? Your favorite actor?
No.
Michael Caine.
Oh. Poor Caine.
Can I ask you to read this? This is his quote from Jaws: The Revenge.
I've never seen it, but by all accounts, it's terrible. However, I have seen the house that it built, and it's terrific.
So maybe that gives you some insight. Have you guys ever seen any of the sequels to Jaws?
I haven't. I just saw Jaws. So
a little backstory. This franchise was beaten into me in childhood, like relentlessly watched. That's another reason why I can't stand this film.
I get you.
Here we go.
We're gonna have a Jaws marathon. That's gonna be your Sunday.
Oh my god!
I hate my life.
Are any of them good at all? I know you don't like Jaws.
I don't remember them.
No, yeah, they're
not even the Michael Caine one. Oh, I'm not watching that either. But if Caine's in it, I'm in it.
If I do vaguely remember 2, and I think I liked 2's action sequence better than 1's.
Because they start amping up like the craziness too, right? Like it becomes more of that quintessential.
I think so, and I just think it's funny that they're like, oh, we killed a shark, it's over. And going back to my original point of like, you're still the same terrible fucking people, and oh look, here comes another shark. You didn't solve your problem. I mean, now you have a sequel, and then maybe 2 more movies that follow because you're incompetent.
You know what? To make this a true horror movie, they should have took Mayor Vaughn out there and strung him up for motherfucker.
I would have at least loved
no sharks in the water, then you should be just fine.
I would have at least loved it if there was these stupid people like doubled down, and like the stupid people who were making all the rules and like got eaten by a shark because they just doubled down. We're like, see, there's nothing wrong in the water. And they get fucked up. That would have been great.
A little poetic justice.
Maybe we have an idea for a remake.
No.
Do you want a remake of this?
No.
I mean, this movie is, and I gave it some guff earlier on, but like this is one of the best movies ever, and especially being a New Englander, having been on fishing boats, having been on some of this stuff, and done some amateur sailing and things, like it's definitely true to that. It's cool and it's a fantastic film. I think at the end of the day, you have to call it a horror film. Just thinking about that debate, just because of the simple fear that Jaws inspired and the terror. And I think to be honest with you, that would be where I'd say the line is and what separates Jaws as a horror movie versus some other movies, which, Goonies, there wasn't really that, there's no instilling terror. Nobody's afraid to go in the water because of Goonies. But,
right.
That's kind of the difference in my mind.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is The Sandlot a horror movie?
Sandlot a horror movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting question because they're afraid of something the entire time.
The dog.
Yeah, the dog. I mean, the dog doesn't really kill anybody, though.
It has the potential to.
Yeah, I guess it has the potential to. I mean,
and it does chase one of the main protagonists around entire.
Do you have a lasting fear of dogs or going into dog areas?
I may not, but some people I don't have a lasting fear of the ocean, sharks biting me, but I
The
mean,
real villain is Squints.
some folks might have a irrational fear of dogs, so I mean that could be a horror element to The Sandlot, and I mean I guess that would be make it a horror movie.
Yeah, but then
I hope there's no remake of that. Holy shit. That would crush my
your youth. Yeah, but I mean then by that definition everything's a horror movie then.
Yeah.
Because everything's got some type of monster or plot or anything.
You know
like
who's
that.
the real horror?
I'm saying what I think is definitive is more of that sense of like that the horror bit of it. It really terrifies you. Something invokes that feeling of horror that just like in Hereditary when the little girl loses her head, like Charlie loses her head. Like there's this horrible feeling when that shark is coming for that child, for that the second boy that you can see. You hear the music and you feel that tension and that it's horror that you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference between that and like a Sandlot where I feel like the emotions are different. I was never truly terrified of the dog in the same way that these other films effectively made me terrified of what I should have been terrified of.
I was pretty terrified of that dog.
I was too, until the ending though. Yeah. And then everything's okay.
Like I said, I was terrified of Squints. That brother was sweating for Wendy Peppercorn.
Who wouldn't be?
And then he decided to, hey, let me try to pretend to be drowning and let her kiss me. Like, what a creep.
I agree with Bearclaw. This is for me one of my favorite movies, and I mean, there's so much good in here. One of the things I've always had an issue with Jaws is the way Quint dies. I always felt like even when
I would have been so disappointed if Quint made it to the end.
I don't think he had to make it to the end, but I don't like how the boat rocks and he just kind of falls into the shark's mouth. I wish he just put up more of a fight,
Yeah.
Because in the Indianapolis speech, he was, basically selling you like, that's never I'm not gonna allow that to happen. I'm gonna do, he talks about the life jacket. I'm never wearing a life jacket.
PBY comes down and starts to pick us up. That was the time I was most frightened, waiting for my turn. I'll never put on a life jacket again.
And he's basically making his war stance against sharks.
Well, here's the thing about that, though, is I think because of that, it makes him, this anger kind of clouds his judgment, kind of clouds his thinking. He's not thinking of the smart. He's going into it with a lot of anger. Yeah. And because of that, the shark caught him off guard.
Would you say it's kind of like a Captain Ahab situation?
Yeah, where it's just...
That's who he's modeled after.
Yeah. It's just, I think because of that, it makes sense. But at the same time, I understand, because I was also pissed off, because I was like, dude, you ruined his big moment, but it makes sense.
I mean, I guess in the end, too, we're all a little afraid, and like, I don't know, like, things change when you're going down a shark's mouth, right?
Let me tell you.
All plans go out the window when you're in the mouth of a shark.
Yeah, Quint. Yeah, no, I think like I don't know. I think that's I think Quint has like the coolest death, and Quint is the coolest character. I someday hope to be Quint. That's like,
is he a part of our squad?
Life goals.
That Logan brings that up. So...
He is not a part of my squad. He is the captain of my squad.
He is your top. He's your top.
He is our Hall of Slain. If you haven't listened to the Mouths of Madness before, we talk about our Hall of Slain.
We haven't done it in a while, but we should.
Who are characters in horror movies that we've reviewed that, died that would help us survive a horror movie, right?
Quint's up there.
Oh, yeah.
He's top tier.
I mean, he's got to be one of the top.
He's an S tier caliber player.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely want him.
Oh, yeah, up there.
You definitely want him.
Yeah, Chief, you're going to want him. He's
very
so
calm
cool.
under pressure.
He's so cool. He is that like independent contractor who's just like,
I have a set of skills.
You guys are gonna need. You guys are gonna either come to me today or you're gonna come to me tomorrow.
Dude, I feel like though he would first off he'd give me his moonshine and it would be like death on earth. you know, like Brody's like, don't drink that,
Yeah.
you know. And then secondly, he'd grab my hands and he would tell me I got city hands.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, but he'll help
Sure.
you. He's up there with Hollis.
Can you imagine him and Hollis drinking?
They'd be crazy. They'd be a band.
Holy shit.
And Frank from 28 Days Later. That's a squad.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Put those guys together.
Nasty boys right there.
Man, before we get to our hook, line, and sinker, I do want to ask, what did you guys think of the ending? Because I think a lot of people love this movie, but the ending always feels like a little like too like Gone in the Wind, like Into the Sunset, I guess.
I thought the ending was perfect. I really enjoyed the ending. I'm glad that there was some kind of happy ending. I think we had to suffer the loss of Quint for it to be an authentic experience. Because if Quint had survived, I think it would come off as inauthentic. I think that's one of the strengths of this movie is how authentic it does come off. You know, especially being a New Englander myself, like, you know, I think that it comes off as very authentic, and that's what makes the movie in a lot of ways.
I don't think it's necessarily a happy ending. For me, it was more of just we barely got the hell out of that kind of ending. Where, like, they were beyond knackered. Like they were basically just left traumatized, triggered, and just like, holy hell, what the hell did we just get ourselves a part of?
I mean, if you think about it too, it's Brody kind of rising to the occasion, right?
Yeah.
He's learned maybe from Hooper. He's learned maybe from Quint. And he's kind of combined. And because I always thought too, Brody was like the middle ground, which, you know.
Brody was what kept everybody, you know, together. He was, you know, the reasonable one, you know, because Hooper was all, you know, up his own butt about his own research and things.
Well, he was smart.
It
and
was
knew his
the
shit.
id, ego, and super ego of it. Yeah, like the id was obviously like Quint, you know, kind of we got to do this right now. Hooper was more the ego that was kind of like, maybe we should think this out and try to do it. And super ego trying to keep it balanced, trying to make that equal balance of things. And at the end, you know, he used both.
How effective was Hooper at the end of the day? Because, like, okay, so he had that strychnine poison spear and whatever that he was going to hit the thing with, and it dropped it.
Yeah, Hooper was
you know, like...
I mean, I think there's an argument for both Quint and Hooper's ways.
Hooper ain't my homeboy.
Like, didn't work at the end, you know? And it was kind of like... It was Brody really like, and you know what I was thinking too? There's a Chekhov's gun in this movie.
The pressure tank.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when Brody is looking through shark books with Mrs. Brody, there's a picture of a shark with one of those tanks in its mouth, and it's like a Chekhov's gun right away. And then when they get back on the Orca later, then they keep talking about the damn tanks, right? The tanks.
Yeah, they're not secure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yup, 100%. So like, and then obviously gets it in his mouth, and then smile, you son of a bitch. Boom. What do you think of the ending, Dan?
Appropriate. They killed the shark.
It happened.
The good guys survived. Most of them.
Oh, barely.
Barely.
If you wait till the end too, they show over the credits them swimming to shore, so you can see they got to shore safely.
Yeah, and I think that's important because this is a Steven Spielberg movie and it's an action adventure film, and you know the heroes have to survive. If everybody died at the end, or like if Brody had to sacrifice himself to save his children from the shark or something, like yes, that would be cool.
I wouldn't care.
At the same time, it's one of those things where it's like, this is an adventure and a horror, but this is also very much an action adventure movie in that he has to overcome, and it's supposed to feel good at the end. It's not supposed to be like this murky of like, oh, humans are the real problem. It's supposed to be, let's go kill this shark. Steven Spielberg loved the last 120 pages of that book where it was like, we're going on a shark hunt. Like, let's go get this thing, you know, like... We're going on the Orca. We're hunting her down.
Damn.
I kind of wish that was the entire movie.
That would have, yeah.
If they cut out,
but the character development was pretty clutch.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I can see it from both ways because I do feel like, you know, it does drag a little bit in certain places. So, you know, you get more to that. But I think it's like the story, you know, and it is creating that built up tension and giving reasons behind these characters and why you root for him or,
A funny story behind this movie. So I watched it twice, but on my first watch through, I fell asleep halfway through and the autoplay kept playing like Jaws 2. And then I woke up
You're in a
and it
different
was like
movie?
halfway through Jaws 2, but it's kind of like the same characters. Like I think Brody's played by the same guy in Jaws 2.
Yep.
So I was so confused. I was like, what happened? I thought this movie was only like an hour and a half. I've got an hour left of this movie. Wow, the shark blew up and came back.
My father-in-law always falls asleep in the same place, right when they get on the orca. Because I think there is an element too of like the water.
Oh yeah, there's nothing more soothing.
I fell asleep.
I just think it's an element of it being too drawn out. But tomato.
Wow,
man.
I think you could say there are elements of it that there's fat and that could be trimmed. In the movie.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, overall, I don't know.
Came out good.
Masterpiece, yeah.
Well, we're on to our hook, line, and stinker. Now, our hook is our favorite kill of the movie. Our line is our favorite line or quote from the movie. Our stinker is something funny, awful, or weird that happens during the movie that makes it either better or worse.
Usually worse.
For me, my hook is Chrissie's death at the beginning. I think because this is an iconic kill. You don't see the shark at all. You get the music score. It's that, darkness with the light and, she's being tossed around and you see the shot from underneath of her swimming naked. And it's just like, it's iconic, and she gets to the buoy and tossed around. And meanwhile, that dude, what was his name? Danny?
Yeah, so
Dan?
it's some early.
Who cares?
He's some local island kid, I guess. They established that he's a local.
the kid from Connecticut, right?
Yeah, he's from Hartford.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he falls asleep, and then and all you can see is her moving back and forth in the water.
Is that the same chick they find with the crabs later?
Yeah, yep. And then you have the scene where they're like, which I love too, because that kid, he's like, she must have drowned. Like, dude, show some emotion.
Isn't that his girlfriend?
It's just some random girl he met at that party.
Okay,
but still, if you, I mean, you would be like, holy shit, like what happened?
I think I would be more invested in it than he is. He's just like, whoa, bummer. She's got eaten.
Big gulps. Well, see you later.
All right. Well, I'm going to get going now, guys. Good thing I fell asleep drunk on the beach.
Right.
Otherwise, I might be eaten.
There's an attractive naked girl in the water. Like, I would be trying my best to make it out there.
He just didn't have the wherewithal.
Maybe, though, he would have drowned.
It saved his life, probably.
My line is, and I know the Indianapolis speech is awesome, and it's iconic, I agree. But my line is when we first meet Quint. And he's in the back of the town hall meeting, and
He's just like, you're gonna pay me this.
Y'all know me.
Y'all know me. Know how I earn a living. I'll catch this bird for you, but it ain't gonna be easy. It's bad fish. Not like going down the pond chasing bluegills or tommycats. This shark, swallow you whole. Shaking. Tenderizing. Down you go. And we gotta do it quick. That'll bring back the tourists. That'll put all your businesses on a paying basis. But it's not gonna be pleasant. I value my neck a lot more than $3,000, Chief.
Nathan, play the whole thing, because it's really good.
Yeah.
My stinker is in that same meeting when they're like, how long are we going to close the beaches for? And Bond's like, 24 hours, 24 hours. And somebody in the background goes, that's like 3 weeks. Like, what?
Bad line.
My other stinker, too, I have listed is when Chief Brody's on the beach and Harry's in front of him, the old man, and he's like talking to him. It's like, dude, get the hell out of my face.
Get
please.
out of the way.
Oh, my
You
God.
with your man tits.
Oh, God. Dan, what do you have?
Hook, I got Quint's death. It's a classic, and that shark is such an amazing set piece, pushing the boundaries of what practical effects can do.
Yeah,
That's a good thing to talk about too, because it's a practical effects. Like it's an actual mechanical shark, no CGI.
Yeah. That's like the one thing I absolutely love about this movie is the effects and how they're all practical, and they all, to me, look pretty good. Line.
You yell barracuda. Everybody says, huh? What? You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July. To me, it's, I think, the line that really makes the mayor out to be the villain of the movie, in my opinion. I mean, he's effectively gaslighting someone into moving away from doing the right thing for the sake of protecting self-interest.
And he wants Brody to arrest the people who did the graffiti and hold them up by their Buster Browns.
That is a deliberate mutilation of a public service message. Now, I want those little paint-happy bastards caught and hung up by their Buster Browns.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Buster Browns. Oh,
Not
no.
the same Buster Browns from Arrested Development.
Man, that was a good stinker you mentioned. But the one I made is just where's the Coast Guard?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
I don't know, if you wanted to be expedient about taking care of the shark problem, then I'd be trying to figure it out at all costs and getting every form of assistance I could from all the government channels up if I'm a mayor. I don't know.
That mayor didn't care.
No, clearly.
Rather pay Quint 10 grand.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
Weird
think
mayor.
I think any civil servant would probably be like 10 grand. All right, we're in.
I mean, that's what I got.
All right, awesome. Bearclaw, what do you have?
Hook, I also have Quint's death because that's the coolest way to die. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. One day, many years in the future, I'm gonna just stop podcasting, or maybe I'll podcast from my boat.
You're gonna
and I'm
die
just
by
gonna
shark?
start. I've been playing a lot of this dredge game too, so I really feel like I can go search the waters and fish the waters for like abominations and rare Lovecraftian fish and things. So, the whole like Quint's death thing of like, just imagine like being like the person and it's like, and they're talking about you and it's like, oh, how did Bearclaw go? And the person who knows is like, well, a shark ate him. And it's like Bearclaw was swimming and the shark ate him. And it was like, no, he was hunting a giant man-killing shark that destroyed his boat and ate him, and then the shark was blown up. Like, that's got to be, like, the best way to go. Like, how do you have a cooler death than that? I mean...
I don't know, dying
in my bed.
Yeah, dying in my bed, surrounded by my close families and friends. I'm good with that.
Lame. All right.
I'd rather not die, Bearclaw. Maybe I don't want my aspirations.
I'd rather be a brain in a box.
I'm going out with my boots on. All right, and my line was,
farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston. And so never more shall we see you again.
and I just thought the timing of that line to what Hooper was saying about the Shark Tank or going into the water, and when he sings that, it's an old British sailing song. That's not really what there's differences in the lyrics, but it's just one of those lines that's like, just like, he's just like, that is the dumbest on the face of it, the dumbest thing that you could say.
You know what's cool, and I just realized this on my last watch, Quint actually whistles that tune too while he's steering the shark, trying to bring it to the shore. Like, it's cool. It's almost like a foreshadowing, like he himself knows they're fucked,
Oh yeah, exactly. And then "Smile, you son of a bitch" is of course another line that it can't be overlooked. The stinkers in this movie, I don't know, people probably try and put a lot of baggage on this movie. I think it's and if you look at a lot of the reasons why things were changed, it was almost to remove a lot of that baggage from the stuff that's in the book and things like that. I see those as the correct choices. And I guess I just, from a stinker point of view, I just think that there's a lot of discourse around this movie and not a lot of great discourse around this movie. I mean, there's a lot of praise, and I think that that's important, but, I appreciated Mr. criticism of a little bit of it, and I think that's important too, because it is a universally great movie, but it's flawed, just like anything else. So, you know, I think that my stinker is just some of the discourse around this movie and some of the closed-minded discourse around this movie.
I want to bring up a good point, though. Dan had said earlier about like him being intrigued by some of the subplots in the book and some of the characters in the book. And we said no to a remake, but would you be willing to see an actual like verbatim, not verbatim, but
I'd rather just read the book.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll direct it.
You'll direct it? Okay.
Yeah.
Friend of the podcast,
Steven
Jordan
Spielberg.
Pugh.
Yeah. Steven Spielberg, eat your heart out.
Yeah, Florence Pugh as your
hell
main
yeah.
girl. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Nope, she'd be Brody.
She'd be Quint.
Dude,
that might get you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm in.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Screw it, I'm in.
You had me at.
You had me at Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh as Brody or as Quint.
Oh man. All right, Logan, what do you have?
For me, Hook, I had Alex's death actually.
Kittner, huh?
Yeah, I really liked it because it impacted the movie. It made them look at the shark a lot differently, because at first they were kind of going like about it like just a normal incident. You know, obviously they knew it was a shark, but they didn't want to try to create panic. But then as soon as it happened in broad daylight with everyone watching, especially the iconic shot of Brody looking out at it,
seeing the raft.
Like it was perfect. It was like a perfect, like, I know it's sad, but that's why it's such an iconic kill, is because it's truly traumatic.
This is one kill that they reshot too because of the mechanics not working right with the shark. But you can actually see, I'll try to find some behind the scenes pictures. There is a picture of seeing the full shark taking the kid like down, like like his jaws opened and going on the kid. So that would have been a really graphic scene.
That would have been exceptionally graphic.
And I'm almost like Logan said though too. I mean, the way it's shot, where you know you're looking out from Brody's perspective on the beach, it's done really well, because all you see is kind of the raft kind of collapsing and blood, everywhere.
Interesting thing about this too is as we're talking about the blood and stuff, I was thinking about this, and something that's coming out next month around the 6th, I think, is the first Lego set of the Orca.
Oh yeah, I saw
and
that.
the idea set, and I think that might be the first. If this is a horror movie, then that might be the first horror Legos set.
Stranger Things.
Oh, Stranger Things. That's like sci-fi, and it's not a movie.
Whoa,
it's horror.
Whoa.
It's horror.
If this is horror, that is fucking horror.
No,
sci-fi can be horror.
I could argue that.
It's 100% horror. What the hell are you talking about?
What do you guys think? Let us know.
Don't tell us what you think. Don't tell us at the padded room at outlook.com.
No,
I swear to God, if you tell us that, I'm
us.
going to report you.
You need to tell.
I'm going to lock you in the penitentiary with Billy.
You need to write it to CC Dan and Logan to tell them the
There's people that are getting killed in that show.
It's sci-fi.
Brutally murdered. There is no easy scene to watch.
All right, Logan, what's your favorite line?
Piss me off.
Got sidetracked.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, that. Oh God. For line, I had.
Smile, you son of a.
Smile, you son of a bitch. I loved it.
Yeah.
He was so pissed off. I love the shot. It's just, oh God, I love it. It's perfect. Stinker. I didn't like Quint's death. I didn't like exactly who was killed. I wanted to see who. The wrong kid died. The wrong guy died. I really liked Quint. Farewell and adieu, Robert Shaw. Thank you for being the best character in this movie. And also, fuck you, Hooper. You can die. Read the book and you'll know the real deal. Hate that guy. God.
Dang, man.
At the end of that movie,
real
they should have been
Hooper
dragged down.
Hooper hater.
Real
New
Hooper.
merch.
Robert
Real
Shaw
Hooper hater.
was the right
Hooper
guy.
Haters Anonymous.
The HHA.
What are your thoughts on the actor, Hooper's actor?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss.
The Dreyfuss.
Are you a Dreyfuss fan?
I'm a better fan of an alcoholic than a coke sniffer.
Are you a fan of Mr. Holland's opus? That's where I know him from.
I think
I know him from that movie Bob or whatever.
What About Bob?
Bob?
Yes,
from,
with Bill Murray.
Bill
Another
Murray.
great one.
He was also in Close Encounters. So
Close Encounters. The What About Bob is my Jaws movie where I had to watch that so many times. It just terrified or just got all.
It burnt you.
It burnt me.
You out.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to watch this movie again, I'm definitely skipping through a lot of Hooper's stuff.
Let me tell you something. If you don't like Hooper, you probably won't like Richard Dreyfuss either.
Yeah.
He's recently in the news said some not very good things.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not a
Made me hate him even more.
Yeah, you can Google that.
I don't want to.
That's gonna really fuck with my fondness for Mr. Holland.
Oh yeah,
His opus is over.
His magnum opus, being a dick.
Oh my God! Does anybody have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, that was my honorable mention. The song.
I think this is one of the most quotable movies. Me and my family
I was
quote
gonna say,
so
That ain't no
much.
shock.
You
You
can
know?
sit and quote this movie all day.
You know,
I mean,
do you want to get drunk and fool around?
Yeah.
You have city hands. You've been counting money all your life.
yeah.
That ain't no shock.
I mean, there's so many, like The Smile, You Son of a Bitch. I mean, those.
Oh yeah, it's an endless amount of This is the 4th of July.
It's only an island if you're looking at it from the water, right? That's the quote. We didn't even. None of us had. You're gonna need a bigger boat, which is the
that's
line.
So the line.
Yeah.
though,
It's too much of the line. It's too overhyped at this point because I've heard it so many times before.
And he gets a bigger boat in the Sequest, which is a show that none of you bastards have watched.
And nor will we.
Listen, let us know if you've watched it.
Yeah, let me know at the padded room.
And who's
that
on your-
I didn't just have some fever dream and invent a show.
Maybe Bearclaw.
Who's on your Hall of Slain?
You know what?
too?
I forgot a big stinker of mine in this.
Big stinky.
Big stinky. The
Ooh.
dog dies. Pippin. I
Yeah.
think, right? We never find Pippin.
What happens to Pippin? I lost.
At least we don't have
track
to
of
see
Pippin.
He
it.
throws the stick out. No Pippin. Right before.
Yeah, now you see him, now you don't.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
gone.
okay.
You guys are
Rest-
heartless.
R.I.P. Pippin.
All right. We're on to our final rating.
They're gonna rate the movie. What will they rate the movie? The killer is great, the victim sucks, the survivor is in between. What was that?
Now, our final rating system is Killer, where the movie was awesome. We would definitely recommend this. It has high rewatchability. We have Survivor, which is our middle tier. This one we might recommend, and it has some rewatchability. It was overall a pretty good movie. The Dreaded Victim. We are all the victim in watching it. There's no rewatchability, and we would definitely not recommend this movie. For me, this is a killer. It's one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time, and that includes horror and everything else. I think it is definitely a quotable movie. I love the action adventure stuff in it. I love the horror stuff, whatever you believe. It's done really well. I think it has great character development. Quint, to me, is legendary. He's a legendary character. Robert Shaw should have won an Academy Award. He wasn't even nominated, which a lot of actors have spoke out against.
That's a shame.
Yeah, and it was one of those
Did this
things.
win any awards?
Yeah, so it did win 3 Academy Awards. One was editing, I believe. One was music, and I'm not sure the other one.
I mean, music. I mean, it had to have won that.
It was nominated for Best Picture, but Steven Spielberg did not receive a nomination for Best Director, which doesn't happen that
blows
often.
my mind.
Yeah.
Like, this is the classic Spielberg adventure movie.
There's behind the scenes footage of him looking and about to all the nominations going off, and he doesn't hear his name, and he's really disappointed. You can tell.
I mean, you make so much money, but I mean, this is the blockbusters are not typically Oscar darlings.
I think so too, where he was young and they're we don't want to give this young punk a,
Yeah. Oh, that's such a shame.
Yeah. I mean, the music in this is
All
legendary.
popularity contests.
Yeah, some of it is a pop. You're right. Some of it is. I think the music is legendary in this movie. This is my summer movie, like we said, with Grown Ups is our other summer movie, but like I have to watch this. It gets me in the summer mood. And, I think there are elements of actual horror. It does make you question going in the water.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't believe in a perfect movie because this movie has flaws, but it's close to perfect for me. All right, we're going to change up things a little bit, and we're going to go to Logan.
Now, I was debating this for a while, and I never really wrote down anything for what I actually had because I knew that originally I was going to rate it a killer, and that I also had kind of the mindset of, well, this is a good movie. Like, this isn't anything bad, but at the same time, I was kind of thinking about it like, there are some flaws, there are some, like, things I disagree with, but at the end of the day, it's got to be a killer. Like, there's no way to see it around. This is a masterpiece of a movie. It's legitimately a great movie to just sit down and watch. It's a summer blockbuster. If you want action, adventure, horror, great character development, just overall great music, tense build-up, like, this is the movie you watch. Like, this is just a phenomenal movie. I really, really enjoyed it. Like, if this is a killer, this is probably one of my deep killers. Like, this has got to be like one of those ones where you'll never forget.
Top 10 killer.
Yeah.
Bearclaw, how about you?
For me, this is going to be a killer. I don't think that's going to come as a surprise. I mean, this is a fantastic movie. I think we had a really good discussion about what makes it a horror movie, which is what kind of battles my point of some of the discourse around this movie being terrible, with people just, instead of, it's one thing to just say, oh, it's a horror movie, and then just leaving it on the face of it without supporting your argument. But, I think it's important to dive a little deeper, think about it. And yes, I think this is a horror movie. I think we could define it as that. But I think I think you owe it to yourself to, when you're looking at your media, to kind of dig a little deeper and really try and define why it's a horror movie and question your assumptions a little bit. I think I landed in the right spot, that it is a horror movie and it is a killer, and I just like examining these things. So but yeah, it's a horror movie and it's a killer, and Stranger Things is a science fiction show and not horror.
Oh my God. Get over it.
Logan is objectively incorrect about
Write us
that.
at the padded room, or write to us on social media.
Objectively incorrect.
Comment on this video why Bearclaw is wrong.
Like I've said a million times too, I think what is great about the horror genre is it does go into different kind of sub-genres.
I really love The Sandlot.
Yeah. The Sandlot is a great horror movie as well.
Oh my God.
That's going to be my top 10.
All right, then. Oh, Logan, you spilled your prime into the pool.
Oh, God, I'm sorry about that.
Dude, oh my God.
You're interrupting my rating. How dare you?
God.
I'm so sorry, man.
All right, Dan.
Now, guys, I can't, in good conscience, give this movie a killer.
With a shark.
I don't find it very interesting. I think it overstays its welcome. I don't find sharks all that terrifying, as I can avoid them by not going in shark-infested waters. The townspeople suck, the mayor sucks, and they all live happily ever after in their entitlement. It's not a fun feeling, disliking something that most people universally love. I don't get the love for it outside of the mechanical shark and practical effects. We have to wait a long time just to get to that. They're great, and they're the only thing keeping this thing in the murky waters of a survivor.
He's gone.
Good.
Oh my God. What
happened to him?
I can't where'd the shark go? It went underneath.
How deep is this pool?
Oh, well, you know what? Now that we're out of the pool, let's dry off. Let's finish the episode here.
Just remember that none of us were here.
Nathan, our producer, also wanted to share his final rating on Jaws. He said, Jaws is the ultimate killer. It is one of the best movies ever made, regardless of genre. The characters are timeless, and the sense of adventure is incredible. Also, a warning to the other members of Madness. I have enough audio of all of you that I can rearrange it to make you say anything I want if you rate this movie incorrectly.
Wow.
He's like the mayor in there. Oh, my goodness. Now, we also wanted to hear from you, our audience, and we asked you for your thoughts on Jaws. And I gotta say, we got the most comments out of any of our other movies on this. So we really appreciate.
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah. We really appreciate all you commenting. It means a lot. We want to hear from you. Let's go to our Facebook page where friend of the podcast, Johnny McAlpine, the only Jaws movie I acknowledge, sorry, Michael Caine. While we have gotten things like Deep Blue Sea and The Meg, it is hard to top this classic. Is it scary to me now? Not really, but the tone and the atmosphere is top tier. Let's go to our Instagram page, and that's at mouths.of.madness. James Shannon Morant, best movie ever made, 10 out of 10. A_rush_of_ducks. Only the first one. Did you get that on film? A perfect film. It should have been labeled a horror because it scared several generations. So this goes into Bearclaw's theory too of like scaring people into not wanting to go in the water. Horror_hockey_forever. Greatest movie ever made. Midnight Movie House. A brilliant and perfect movie that is fun, suspenseful, and still holds up nearly 50 years later. Yeah, we didn't talk about that. 50 years.
I know. It's getting its own Lego set. I'm so excited.
Man, this movie filmed 50 years ago, and the actual release is next year. I really wanted for the 50th see what they're doing in Martha's Vineyard where it was filmed.
Oh, yeah.
Go to some set places. I think that would be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Fade to Black 82. It's a classic. Valerie_Miles. Great. The pinball machine is good too. I've not seen the pinball machine.
There's a pinball machine of Jaws. It's pretty cool.
I would like to play that, I think.
It's pretty
I've
cool
played the
looking.
digital version of it. It's pretty neat.
The actual version of it looks awesome.
Geek about movies. We're going to need a bigger boat. Classic movie. Gave me nightmares as a kid. Shaun the Damaged, top 5 of all time. Took my kids to see it in a theater last summer. Watched it this weekend. A perfect movie to me. Shark issues and all. Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies.
Wow, Night of the Living Shaun there is giving us a good treat.
That's Shaun the Damaged. Wrong dude.
It's the same. It's
What's his handle? Oh.
It's
I know.
Yeah.
I get it.
Oh,
I'm an
God, you're
idiot.
so dumb.
All right, Nathan, cut
Boomer.
that out. Friend of the podcast, Redhead Palette Crafts. Jaws is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time. As a kid, I was huge into Shark Week on Discovery Channel. My parents highly screened my TV viewing as a kid, and given how this movie is rated PG, my mom let me rent this from Blockbuster, and I was in elementary school. Needless to say, the shark attack scene scared the ever-living shit out of me, especially the dramatic attack in the movie's finale. Fantastic acting, score, practical effects, and what great backstory to how the movie was almost never finished due to filming delays, issues with the weather, and mechanical sharks, the like. Definitely a killer rating. Hook. Quint's death. Line. Amity, as you know, means friendship. Wow, that's cool. That's one we didn't have. Stinker. The odd way Richard Dreyfuss stares at Ben Gardner's body when it pops out of the hull of the boat. Dude, are you freaked out or not? I agree.
Yeah.
And like I said, Redhead Palette Crafts is our buddy Aaron, and go check out his page because he does some cool things with palettes.
Glad someone else did their hook, line, and stinker. That's really cool.
Yeah, if you have your hook, line, and stinker or your final rating, send it to us on these movies. We love to hear them.
Yeah, definitely.
Indie_media_productions. Stunning movie. Easy in my top 5 films of all time. Modern Monstrous. Jaws is still one of the greatest and scariest movies of all time. People are still scared to go in the water, even if the shark mechanism.
Oh, mechanism.
Mechanism. There we go. Damn.
God, you.
Reading is not my strong suit.
What are you, stuttering?
Sorry. It's clearly not great by today's standards. The mood and the tone set by the whole movie and Quint's Indianapolis speech are just amazing. People who say this movie is overrated or not scary are just wrong. Ooh. Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks. We just reviewed this one, and honestly, still love it and think it totally holds up. The shark movie that started them all. Yeah, go check out Spooky Chicks and Horror Flicks because they also did Jaws recently as well. Bucket of Chum podcast, hands down, greatest shark movie Hollywood ever made, with Deep Blue Sea a very close second. Fade to Black 82, another comment, still a classic. I watch it often. Got 1 and 2 on DVD. Dissect that film. It's the greatest movie ever made. My love for movies started with my grandma showing me Jaws when I was 3. I didn't only fall in love with Jaws and movies, but with sharks. It has aged like fine wine. Perfection. Primetime _ Mitch. I did such a fun watch along of this a while back on the channel. It never gets old and always maintains its brilliance. The Quint monologue was Oscar worthy. Yeah, and go check out Primetime Mitch's channel and watch his review of Jaws. James Shannon Morant, best movie of all time. The music, the performances, a combination of horror and suspense. K. Lampy, 5678. One of my earliest horror memories is watching Jaws, as was the case for many of us. The scene with Quint at the end both terrified me and also made me realize how much I love scary movies and shark movies. I live near the ocean, so it is never far from my mind when I'm in the water. I do still love sharks, so it never affected my opinion of them, other than not wanting to be their lunch. Always a 10 out of 10 for me. Perfection. Hooper is my favorite, but I do love all the characters.
You're getting an unfollow.
She loves Hooper.
Ugh.
Out of the Darkness Productions. I just recently did my yearly rewatch of this absolute classic a few weeks ago. This movie still holds up extremely well 50 years later. The acting, the filmmaking, and story is what keeps this film relevant in today's world. In my opinion, this is the ultimate shark movie. Even though there's other shark movies I enjoy, none have come close to this film. I even feel that Bruce the Shark still works great, even in 4K. Great show, guys. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. That was a lot of comments. We really appreciate it. We love hearing from you guys. And email us at thepaddedroom@outlook.com and let us know, what is your final rating on Jaws? Let Bearclaw know what your thoughts are.
Let me know if there's any other shark movies we need to be checking out too. You know,
Sharknado's up there.
You know, let us know what's the cream of the crop. You know, let us know at thepaddedroom@outlook.com.
Well, we'll be back again soon with another episode, and we're going to be reviewing The Burning, which is my pick for an episode. So until then, back to the padded room with you. You know what? Why don't we sing a song and go out the right way? Show me the way to go home. Boom, boom, boom. Tired and I want to go to bed. Had a little drink about an hour ago. Nathan, put that in there.
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago and I got right to my
This pool looks awfully inviting.
Ooh, yeah.
Cannonball.
You missed
was I not supposed to do that there?
What? I'm
Wait, I'm so confused. Wasn't I supposed to cannonball?
Yeah, not yet though, not yet. You cannonball too early.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa.
I got Logan over. He's dying. Check him.
I wasn't ready for the hi, Mark. Oh, Lisa.
All right, Nathan, they got the order here.
I think we starting it.
No, that's all right. That's all right. All right. So, I mean, he can use that cannonball. We'll just
I can do it again. Just point to me next time. I'm so lost.
Wait. Okay. No. Wait. Let's.
You
got back
up. You got to say, what's that in the pool? Or
okay. I'm what's that in the pool.
Yeah,
okay.
that, yeah.
Okay. I'm what's that in the pool. Oh, you just want.
Yeah, you can say like, hey, dude, what's that in the pool?
Hey, what's that in the pool?
Cannonball.
God damn it.